Welcome to Rich Keys channel, where we unlock wealth one candle at a time. Here, charts don't lie and neither do we.
Disclaimer, not financial advice. The information provided on this channel is for informational and demonstration purposes only, and should not be considered as personalized financial, investment, or trading advice.
All right, welcome back, traders. Today is Saturday, the 9th of August, 2025. Time now is about 9:38 a.m. New York time. And as usual, I just have to analyze my trading setups and analyze the market, see what opportunities the next coming week may present so I can align my trade plan accordingly. So let's start with Bitcoin. Again, this is not financial advice, guys. It's just my thoughts and my journey that I'm sharing, and do share the insights. Okay, so Bitcoin has broken the level that I had placed on my chart last week to invalidate a continuation to the downside. Now, whilst it can still occur, I'm just looking at the possibilities. I'm just looking at the possibilities. So I was expecting us to consolidate between this price zone, which is the 0.382 resistance level, which is the box that I do here, and this support zone, and maybe gather enough strength to be able to continue doing a next leg down, breaking this support for a potential target between somewhere around 109 to about 105. Okay, now this target is the best target. If bears are able to take charge of this setup here and push price to close below 114. Okay, so if you are going to go short, your conviction or your validation point is that we must get a candle open and close on the daily chart below 114. That would suggest that there'll be more downside on Bitcoin for the potential breakthrough of this support into the base target. Currently, today, Saturday, as I analyze this, we have invalidated my trade plan, which was not to break above the 38.2. We've made it to the 0.68 fib retrace, which I was considering to be a wave B, which is still valid because we haven't closed above this level yet. But I'm just looking at things from the weekly perspective, and I'm asking myself, okay, would my trade plan work or not? And that's where I'm changing gears. Okay, now if this week, more likely we're going to close with a green candle some way, somehow. With this kind of bearish engulfing candle off a support base, closing the week in green suggests to me that with all the pushback that we could probably get, as long as, like I said, we don't push below 114, bulls are likely to push price further up. It's going to be a very difficult battle to fight if you are holding a short. So I closed my short position on Bitcoin and altcoins as well. I'll explain altcoins in a minute. Because there's more likelihood that they're going to push price off this resistance level here at 117 based on the closure of the week. A similar pattern occurred somewhere around, let's go back in history, see where we have a similar pattern where this kind of setup showed itself up. Okay, so one of them will be somewhere like here. Okay, so off a support, we closed in a green candle. The next week, we went up, okay, before we pull back down again. So if we're going to close something like that, similar to this, I'll probably expect us to go test the highs again, 119 to about 123, before, if anything at all, we push back down. And that's why I have changed my trade thesis on Bitcoin this coming week. So yeah, I think that's about all that I want to share on Bitcoin. Of course, indicators wise, on the weekly, we're still below zero. MACD has still crossed down. RSI is still within the bullish territory. We haven't gone below zero yet. I mean, below the 50% level yet. Stochastic is just cruising above the 80 mark. So that still suggests there's strength in there. We could just do another, move up like this. So nothing here suggesting otherwise. The divergence that we spotted on the daily chart I think has worked itself out. Um, and Yeah, I think the divergence has worked itself out. And depending on how this closes today, okay, if we close below, give or take, even 116,600 below this candle, okay, that could suggest further downside on Bitcoin. So again, the closing candle for today will be very significant. The only reason why I'm still holding my position that things have turned is that if you look at your RSI on the daily, clearly we've broken above the 50% level. Okay, that's a change in strength. We might struggle a bit, but there's a change in strength here, all the way from 14 through the 30s, and now we have crossed the 50 level. That tells you there's been a change in strength. Um, my stochastic on the daily still shooting, pointing upwards. We haven't turned down yet. We neither are we going sideways yet. So the daily on the every indicator is suggesting that we potentially could be going a little bit more higher. MACD is also crossed the zero line officially, since we went above zero on the histogram bars. So looking at all this, I think the momentum is in favor of bulls at the moment, even though there's bigger resistances ahead of them. um, I'd rather be in the direction of strength. And I think at this point, I've taken a small long position on crypto uh, to potentially go to the high of 120, and maybe we'll go test the 123 target again. So that's my thesis on Bitcoin. All right, now let's talk about XPX. So my trade ID on XPX was invalidated as the week unfolded. So I had to sit back and figure out why. Why did this occur? And this is probably the only explanation that I found. Okay, so this support zone here that I have marked on here, this is a very strong support zone right here. So we came right into this support. Don't forget, this is where people consolidated and pushed price further up. We had our rejection here, and we pushed back down here, and we found support. In technical analysis, structure overrules any signals that you may get. So once you get to this level with such a strong bearish engulfing candle on the weekly, but then you come to a support zone that is defended with such a strong buying volume by the end of the week. This suggests to me that all the selling that occurred here has been reabsorbed, which means there's been a change in sentiment. And when the market changes, you don't want to be on the wrong side of history. So for me, sentiment on XPX is changed based on the weekly chart. Yes, we did not close above last week's high. Um, but considering this Marabuzu candle, there's no wick at the top. There was no selling at the top at all. It just tells me this is continuous buying, 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 buying. So I think in the next coming week, XPX may break through this resistance here, and or may consolidate sideways, one of them, as this is an indecision. Putting last week's candle and this week's candle together, this to me is an indecision. Basically, huge selling, huge buying. Market didn't go anywhere really in the last 2 weeks. We're still where we are, with the top still intact at 64,405. 64,17, right about 64,36. Sorry. Okay, so we still haven't broken above last week's closing. That suggests to me that, okay, at worst case scenario, this is just going to go sideways. Support has been strongly defended, but looking at the strength of this candle, I think it may push through next week's candle, and XPX might be aiming for the 6,626 target ultimately. Now, the divergences that we did spot on our indicators has worked itself, in my opinion, since we found support, which means more likely RSI is going to continue going up, up, up until either we get another divergence on RSI here at some point, which is not yet confirmed on the weekly. And MACD is also changing. If you look at MACD, yes, we did dip below on the histogram, but now we probably inching a little bit up. Step down to the daily, give us a little bit of clarity. And if you look on the daily, that's why I'm saying I've changed my mind. Momentum is changed on the daily. Your MACD has officially crossed the zero line. Okay, and also the histograms bars are above zero. That's the energy flow on XPX on the daily. Stochastic is still up. RSI has turned around. As you can see, we went all the way down to almost 22, and we have also crossed the 50% level on our RSI, which means potentially we could be going further up into the 80, 87 level on RSI on XPX RSI level. So, yeah, based on this, I think XPX is more likely to inch up higher. Of course, this resistance is still there. It could pose as a double top to it, but looking at the strength behind this candle, I think this might push through this resistance. So that's my take on XPX. Okay, now let's look at NASDAQ 100. So NASDAQ 100 is a similar story to the XPX that we just looked at. Again, we came into a previous support zone. Here was a support zone, and it was strongly defended with this strong bullish engulfing candle. A little bit more selling that was quickly absorbed and pushed price further up. This clearly tells me bulls are in control on NASDAQ 100. It's no point fighting the current. Okay, so trend wise, we're still up. We're now officially above our 21 period moving average, also above our 9-day period moving average. This tells me strength is to the upside. Energy flow on the daily chart is also to the upside. Your MACD is officially crossed the zero line. Histogram bars are above the zero line. Stochastic is crossed up, and RSI is in the positive territories. Uh, Based on the daily chart, this is looking bullish. If you go to the weekly, you have a bullish engulfing candle over superseding last week's bearish engulfing candle. It's a change in sentiment, change in momentum. Um, Now, whilst we haven't gone above the zero line on our MACD setup here, you know, MACD is already ranging in the positive territories, and this pullback probably is done. And maybe in the next coming week, we will get a green histogram bar confirming that there'll be a little bit more of a longer trend on Nasdaq 100. So my change is because there's a change in momentum, and obviously you don't want to be on the wrong side of history. So my direction for Nasdaq 100 is bullish coming into the next week. Okay, so quickly let's also look at gold. Gold is of prime importance to analyze as well. So gold is still looking bullish, and last week we had this bullish hammer, and I was suggesting that with this bullish hammer, hopefully we might gather some strength to potentially go break through the resistance at 34. 34 435. This is the resistance level that we haven't been able to open and close above. It's still there. We haven't closed above this level, so nothing yet confirmed on gold, as this resistance is still in place. Now, the only good thing is that we're still bullish, and I'm looking at it from um, indicators wise. We have pulled back. RSI is still pointing to the upward direction. Stochastic has turned down and now turned up, suggesting that we found some kind of a support. Um, on the weekly, you could see also that MACD is now turning up. MACD is turning up on the weekly. So all this suggests that there's been an energy shift in gold at the moment. As you can see, yes, is it a strong conviction at the moment? No, it is not, but it's favoring bulls on gold. So again, when we step down to the daily chart, you would see a little bit more of a clarity here. And there's something on this daily chart that I want to show. Of course, if you look at where is my volume bar on this? Okay, I got the volume back on, so it's good. All right, so yeah, let's look at this volume that we formed on the daily chart. Okay, so this is where things get quite tricky, and you look at this huge selling volume, well, whether selling volume or buying volume, one of them. Okay, got this huge volume here. You have a small body candlestick here, small body candlestick here. Something occurred on Friday that should be telling us a lot as to the direction of gold. And for me, this is how I'm interpreting this huge volume and this candlestick that we formed. Now, obviously, let's first say it was sellers. Okay, let's just assume it was sellers. Then we'll look at the bullish selling volume as well. So if it was selling volume, then I would suggest that all the selling was absorbed by bulls, considering the fact that we have a wick at the bottom of this small body candlestick that we formed. Okay, so the wick is what is giving me the impression that there was huge selling, a lot of selling, but all the selling was somehow absorbed, that we ended up with a small selling body candlestick. Okay, now let's switch the coin and say there was um, basically bulls that were trying to push price up, and bears were probably selling into the bullish buying. Well, whilst that postulation also holds, then in that case, I would have expected that the wick above the closer would be longer, considering that it was bulls that were pushing price up and bears were selling into it. No, I actually do see this as price got here and sellers were in charge. And as a matter of fact, let's step down to the 4 hours. That might give us some clue. Okay, so 4 hours still gives us indecision. You can see a lot of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But this is the big one. This tells us there was huge selling on Friday at around 5 a.m. There was huge selling. Okay, now this is what it's telling me. All the selling was absorbed by 9 a.m. By 9 a.m., all the selling was absorbed. Buyers have pushed price up. This suggests to me this is a bullish setup right here. Okay, you know, the divergence that was in place has played itself out here. There was a strong divergence here. It played itself out. All the selling has taken place, and I think there's been a shift in momentum, or a shift in sentiment on gold. And considering this absorption, I think gold continues grinding up in the next coming week. Of course, if I look at the daily, one would say, okay, you have this small body, not the daily, but I was looking at it from the monthly, from the weekly. Okay, now you have a strong weekly closure like this. I don't see how I could be bearish on gold. The volume supporting this candlestick as well, and confirming the bullish hammer that we had last week. I think gold probably at best, at worst, would try and make it up to the resistance of 34.41, or potentially we might get a breakthrough in the next coming week. All right, and quickly, let's look at Bitcoin dominance to conclude this market analysis section. I would analyze Dixie and Forex pairs in a separate video. So, with the dominance on Bitcoin, we've come to a very important level. This week is more likely going to close with such a strong bearish engulfing candle here. Now, last week, I was hoping for a follow through with this inverted hammer confirmed, that hopefully that would push us to the 0.618 level, which is somewhere around here, Fibonacci level. Okay, so I was expecting us to move somewhere here. We only did the 0.382 Fib level, and we started to collapse from there. I was hoping that we would probably just push slightly down and then continue up, but no, that didn't happen. That was just because of this candle set pattern that we had formed on the weekly. Strong selling, inverted hammer confirmed, and so I was expecting us to go a little bit higher. But now looking at the chart, we have officially um, broken to the downside. And looking at the history of Bitcoin dominance, okay, um, we potentially could get something like what we had here somewhere around December 2nd week, where we came below the 50, and then the next week we went up. Okay, now if this happens, then I would assume that the fall on altcoins, um, I mean the fall of altcoins is probably going to continue, and in other words, this is going to go back up. But then again, when I look, this is also for the first time that we've seen our 9 period moving average crossed the 21 on the weekly. The time we came here, with all this that happened, we did not get a crossover. Our 9 clearly stayed above the 21. But here we have a crossover. And I think, yes, whilst there will be some pushback from this level, okay, because again, I think this level is a 50% Fibonacci extension level. The next coming week, it's more likely going to continue going down. And unless, and again, big unless a reversal happens from here, this will be the time that we're going to lose the 50 period moving average on dominance. Looking at the history of dominance, okay, we've stayed above the 50 all through this since 2023. We stayed above it consistently. And so this will be the first time that we lose it. And if we should lose it, the first time we lost it, it was somewhere around 2021, and it wasn't great after we lost the 50, especially when the 9 um, crossed the, what do you call it, the 21, and also crossed the 50. That was a signal right there. Currently we don't have both of them crossing the 50 period yet, but if we do lose the 50, our next support coming back here, if we should lose the 50 period moving average, our next support is somewhere around here, which is around the 55% level, somewhere around here. Okay, and that would be a Fibonacci extension of 100%. Should this level fail, there is a bearish pennant target that I have on here, and that comes right about to the 200 period moving average. So yeah, the only thing that is on dominance that might maybe derail the continuation of a fall is the fact that we have stochastics almost at its cycle low. And maybe this might also give us an RSI divergence, and that's only if in the next coming week we can get this zone being defended. But it doesn't look likely to me that this zone will be defended. Um, there's nothing here that suggests so, apart from stochastic cycle, which could just bounce slightly up and continue growing, at this level. Um, let's step down to the 4 hours, see what the near term gives us some good ideas on that. So again, on 4 hours, we clearly have seen that there's been a break of structure. So this was our previous low on dominance, okay, and I was expecting this low to be defended, but clearly we are broken through this low. This support zone is being retested. You know, support and resistance plays a higher role in chart analysis to me than any other signal or indicator pointing otherwise. You have all your moving averages 9, 21, 50 all crossing down. You trading outside the KC channel, but Bollinger Bands wise, you just right at the lower end of the Bollinger Band. This is just going to continue going down from my observation after a break of this structure. I think because indicators are looking very oversold, I'm looking at RSI. Okay, RSI is well in the oversold region, but we could stay here just like here. We stayed here for a long time. We might bounce in between here and here, and I expect similar thing to probably occur here. I don't see any strong divergence yet on RSI, so it's really bearish on dominance at the moment. I think we might just bounce a little bit up and down between this level and the 9 period moving average, but the direction is down, and I think this is going to probably creep down until they find support somewhere around maybe the 59%. And so, um, yeah, I close my short on altcoins because this is going to probably continue going down. First to this 59 level, and potentially we might be coming all the way down to 57, which on the daily chart is the Fibonacci extension of 100% to complete the wave C. And who knows, when we get here, we'll reevaluate. But I think dominance is likely to continue going down. I've looked at it from the weekly. You have in the weekly engulfing almost now officially going to close below the 50 period moving average. You don't seem to get any support at the moment. Um, if you come to the daily, as we looked at it, daily is officially now also giving you strength to the downside. You're officially getting your first candle open and close outside the KC band as well. That suggests strength to the downside. Yeah. So that's my thesis. And of course, if you look at the daily dominance, the only thing that might spoof everybody, and that I'm watching closely for that, if that should okay, I'll change my tune again, is that this is our previous RSI low. We have come lower, and this is where RSI is. But we haven't had any candle that suggests that RSI is turning around from here. So if you do get a turnaround from here, that will be a divergence on the daily chart. And with that divergence, you could call the fall on the rise on altcoins over. But for now, things are still pointing downwards. Stochastic pointing downwards. Yes, we are in the turnaround zone, but nothing suggests otherwise. But you go and look at MACD, and MACD hasn't hit the previous turnaround zone, which is around minus 1.68% level. We haven't got there yet. And MACD is below zero, strongly selling. Momentum is to the downside on dominance. So with this, I think altcoins are going to probably perform a little bit better in the next coming days. We would analyze and evaluate as the week unfolds, and I would update in the update section. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with me through this analysis period. It's been a lengthy one, almost 26 minutes of analysis, and I think I would end this week analysis here. Check out my Dixie as well as Forex analysis in a separate video that I will upload very soon. Thank you. Have a great trading week. Cheers.